Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Today, attorney John Deaton issued a whistleblower alert on Twitter, which, by the way, if you follow him on Twitter, you know that's not something that he does every day. And John Deaton, he is not particularly bombastic. He's taken a very level-headed approach to the nonsense that is the SEC versus Ripple case. I'm sure many of you saw him on the PBD podcast on Wednesday. And as he was describing the facts of the case, one of the gentlemen he was speaking to said, he interjected briefly, not in a rude way, but he was just like, you're getting dangerously close, John, to making an allegation. And John was just citing facts, mind you. And ultimately, John said something that is in line with the approach that I've been taking on this case, which is that the level of conflict of interest and the sheer number of coincidences, in air quotes, if you will, it warrants, as John put it, an independent investigation. And so John's taking the same approach as me in that sense, in that I'm not coming outright and saying that any of the individuals we've been talking about in this case in the SEC, where I'm not saying they did anything illegal. I'm just saying that a lot of times where there's smoke, there's fire, and if nothing was done illegally, okay, fine. It'd be kind of hard to believe. All I'm saying is, since I don't have evidence that anything was done illegally, why don't we look into this a little bit further? Because again, the number of coincidences and appearance of conflicts of interest for so many of these individuals, it's at an unprecedented level. So that's the approach that I'm taking. And John's saying publicly, hey, there's no harm in doing this, because even if an independent report is filed after investigation and it's found that these SEC officials did nothing wrong, there was actually no impropriety. If that's the case, well, then good. Now we know that there's nothing shady at the SEC, but right now there's a lot of uncertainty, to use a euphemism, from the populace at large. That's not healthy. That's not healthy for the country. So if that's what we're found, then good. On the flip side, if what's found is they did some things that were illegal, well then good, because we would need to know that too. That's the stance that John Deaton has taken, and I think it's perfectly reasonable. And so when he says something like, whistleblower alert, I'm going to take notice. He's not saying it for the sake of attention grabbing, that's for damn sure. And he went so far as to say, William Hinman, might be a good idea for you to seek legal counsel. So I'm going to go ahead and explain all the specifics in this latest Moon Lambeau Hot Jam. But before going any further, I do want to be clear that I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And so here's where it all started. There's a Twitter thread on your screen from Allison Heron Lee. Allison is one of 5 commissioners at the SEC. These 5 commissioners are the only 5 individuals on the entire planet at the SEC who determine whether or not to bring legal action against individuals or entities. It could be a business entity, not-for-profit, whatever it may be. There's 5 humans on the planet that can bring this. And now Allison, although I don't believe we technically know the way that she voted, in taking a look at things we do know, because for instance, what was the outlet I reported on? I can't remember who officially reported. Actually, I do remember. It was that article written by Charles Gasparino of Fox Business, along with Eleanor Turret. They wrote this article together, and they spent 2 months putting this together, and they cited that Hester Peirce did not vote in favor of taking action against Ripple, which was the first I'd ever seen that. To my knowledge, leading up to that information had not been made known. And now she seems to be in line with another SEC Commissioner, Elad Roisman. Typically, the way that they approach, they've written a number of letters together that are on the official SEC website, taking issue with the approach that Gary Gensler's running the SEC now. They're taking some jabs about how things occurred under former SEC Chair Jay Clayton. So I think it's reasonable to suspect that those are the only 2 that did not vote in favor to bring legal action against Ripple. And we do know it was a 3-2 vote. That much we know, even though initially names weren't put out there. So Allison Heron Lee, whose thread is on your screen right now, it's a safe guess that she did vote to bring the legal action against Ripple, which resulted in the financial destruction of pretty much everybody that's listening to this. If you were holding XRP when this came down, you felt the pain because of this individual who is on your screen right now. I think. To be clear, I'm saying I suspect that is the case. I can't literally say with 100% certainty, but I do suspect this is the case. And I think we're going to know for sure once this case has reached its finality, whether it's through settlement or full adjudication. And so she put a thread out here unrelated to cryptocurrency specifically. I'm not going to read it, but I put it on the screen just for full context because this is what kicked off the rest of what I'm going to share with you. John Deaton responded to this with a thread of his from October 10th, and I've actually shared that on the channel before. And it begins as follows. These are the facts, and they are not undisputed. I'm not going to go through the whole thread. It would be outside the scope of this video, but he was just factually stating all of the peculiarities that I've been highlighting along with others in the community for the better part of a year at this point. And then somebody else from the community jumped in here, and this is where it starts to get really interesting. Somebody named Nicola wrote to John and said, John, it's clear they were in violation of Title V CFR Section 2635.702, use of public office for private gain. Why has this not been pursued? And so Attorney John Deaton did see that, and he looked into it further. And then that led to this tweet, which reads as follows in all capital letters, whistleblower alert. This is from John Deaton. And then he tagged Nicola and wrote, Nicola deserves money. He's got a little money bag emoji right there. And then John wrote, I think Bill Hinman could have used some legal advice before signing the sworn declaration filed by the SEC. If his speech reflected only his personal opinion and was not guidance by the SEC, he is in violation of Title V. Now, Title V is on your screen. I'm going to come back to this in just a moment, but I first wanted to highlight Brad Garlinghouse has been talking about a little bit of this as well. This is a tweet from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse dated August 4th this year, 2021, which reads as follows. In 2018, Bill Hinman said Ethereum isn't a security, and Jay Clayton agreed. But just weeks ago, Hinman filed a sworn affidavit in court saying the SEC still has, quote, not taken any position or expressed a view, end quote, on Ethereum's status. So how is the market supposed to have clarity? Isn't that a good question? Indeed, if the SEC has no official position on Ethereum, how's the market supposed to have any sort of reasonable clarity? And so then going back to this again is Title V. Here, I'll make it full screen in case you guys actually want to read through this whole thing. I'm not going to for the sake of this video. I'm providing the information. If you want to hit pause and actually read through the whole thing, you can. I'm going to go through the most crucial part of this, which Attorney John Deaton highlighted. So let me go through this and we will talk. So then John wrote the following. Oh yeah, so here's where he highlighted, this was from, so this is from the Hinman deposition. John highlighted a piece of the Bill Hinman deposition that occurred over the summer. The speech was intended to express my own personal views. Let me pause. He's referencing the June 2008 speech in which, now known, of course, as the Ethereum Free Pass speech, in which he said that it's his personal opinion that Ethereum clearly not a security based on its current decentralization. Set aside the fact that there is an ICO, but based on current facts and circumstances, not centralized, and thus, since there's no central authority, certainly not a security at this point in time. That's the message he conveyed, and of course, it was presented in such a way that the world took it as official decree from the SEC, which is what was intended, frankly. Anyway, here's the quote from Bill Hinman from the deposition. The speech was intended to express my own personal views. To the best of my knowledge, the Commission had not taken at that time, and still has not taken, any position or expressed a view as to whether offers and sales of Ether constituted offers and sales of securities. And then John wrote, you can't use public office for private gain, and then he goes on to cite part of Title V, which reads as follows. An employee shall not use his public office for his own private gain for the endorsement of any product, service, or enterprise, or for the private gain of friends, relatives, or persons with whom the employee is affiliated. Again, a key word within that being enterprise. The employee shall not, again, use his public office for his own private gain or for the endorsement of any product, service, or enterprise. Again, one of the key words there, enterprise. And then John wrote the following. His firm was a member of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. And that website, in part, reads as follows. When you go to the page that John Deaton links to here, it's the ethereumalliance.org page. The EEA is a member-led industry organization whose objective is to drive the use of enterprise Ethereum and mainnet Ethereum blockchain technology as an open standard to empower all enterprises. So again, there is no question what he did directly benefited this enterprise of which he's clearly associated. He doesn't deny that he is associated. This falls under Title V, as John Deaton is highlighting here, thanks to XRP community member Nicola bringing this up. And then John Deaton continues. Hinman collected $15 million while at the SEC. He claims it was retirement benefits, but he unretired immediately, going back to Simpson Thacher after leaving the SEC. Even if it was strictly retirement benefits, his speech benefited his firm and its clients. Think about that, folks. He used his office to benefit his firm and its clients. John wraps up by stating the following. If the law has always been crystal clear, as Clayton and Gensler claim, then there was no reason for Hinman to give the speech declaring Ether a non-security. The SEC claims his speech had nothing to do with SEC guidance to the markets. Hinman might want to seek counsel. And isn't that an excellent point, though? Seriously, why would Bill Hinman think it remotely made sense to have this big old speech with tons of drafts at this Yahoo Financial Summit in the summer of 2018? Why would he think that it would even be necessary to have that speech, just even share his personal opinion, if it's so crystal clear from official SEC guidance, even just looking back to the Howey test, of what is and is not a security? Why would he feel it necessary? We know the answer. It's because there wasn't sufficient clarity. The SEC doesn't want to be tied down to any specific regulation, and so they trotted Billy Hinman out there to say his personal opinion, have it presented as if it's official decree from the SEC, and the markets have suffered, including investors that the SEC is supposed to protect. That's the reality of what has happened right here. So, there you go. Whistleblower alert. It is what it is. And so that's why John Deaton, he's saying, Bill Hinman, you might want to seek some legal counsel. That might be a good idea, just to look into this for your own well-being, because obviously we are all very concerned about Bill Hinman. This is the truth, right? And so there we are. The story just keeps getting more and more ridiculous. Independent investigation, please, yes. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.